Welcome to the show, Numerical Excellence, alongside a proud alumnus of #1 ranked Michigan State University, Jemele Hill. I'm Michael Smith, the best quarterback in the history of intramural flag football at Loyola University in New Orleans. We'll talk about one flag in particular in just a minute. That's a true story. Also coming up, are the Panthers now the toughest contender in the NFC? And is one New York Giant talking a bit too tough with the Cowboys coming to town? But we start with a tough way to end a quality football game, Jemele.
Yeah, that indeed it was. The number in the news for the New England Patriots is Rule 853. The reason the Patriots sort of didn't get the benefit of this controversial play from last night's call and a otherwise spectacular Monday night game is because of Rule 853. That rule states that contact that would normally be considered pass interference is permissible if the pass is clearly uncatchable.
Clearly.
To which I say hogwash. But here's referee Cleet Blakeman's explanation for why the refs picked up the flag. Blakeman said there was a discussion at that point as to the catchability of the ball due to its location. So it was determined that at that point in time, that when the primary contact occurred on the tight end, that the ball in essence was coming in underthrown and in essence was immediate at that point intercepted at the front end of the end zone. Okay, so there was a determination that in essence, uncatchability, that the ball was intercepted at or about the same time the primary contact against the receiver occurred. All right. In essence, though, they didn't get that call right, Mike. Am I correct about this?
That was essentially a bunch of BS. That's what that was. I mean, with all due respect, okay? Because if you got to rationalize to me why it wasn't pass interference, it was wrong. We all been watching enough football to know pass interference when we see it. And that was clearly pass interference, at minimum defensive holding. Luke Kuechly was not playing the ball.
No.
That's a textbook definition of interference.
He was face guarding like a mug.
And I can't tell you with absolute certainty that Rob Gronkowski could have stopped his momentum and made a play or caught that football, but nobody out there, nobody, and I'm sick and tired over the last 12 hours of hearing people talk about how there was no way he was catching that. You can't convince me that he couldn't have made a play on that ball. You know why it was uncatchable? Luke Kuechly. That's why it was uncatchable.
Exactly.
He's tracking the football.
Yeah.
I've seen way less get a flag at all points in the game. You can't pick up that flag. This should have been like a challenge flag situation where when you go under the hood, you have to see indisputable evidence in order to overturn the call. Once the back judge threw the flag, followed his first mind, when they had that conversation, that little powwow, whatever they did, they should have been convinced that it was uncatchable. And after every replay, I'm still not convinced that had Kuechly not held Rob Gronkowski, that he could not have at least made a play on the football. You can't hold. He was holding him before the ball was even caught.
Yeah, so he got
ridiculous.
He got him off his spot. So everybody who was like, oh yeah, he wouldn't have caught it anyway. Yeah, because Kuechly drove him 4 yards to the back of the end zone. Look, as soon as they threw a flag, that is when they expose a level of indecision. The flag is thrown, and then next thing you know, you see the refs conferring. And just by the nature that they've thrown it, at this point in my mind, watching as a viewer, it communicates that something isn't right, that everybody isn't on board. So if everybody isn't on board with the call, then it becomes a judgment decision.
I'd have rather he swallowed his whistle, so to speak.
Absolutely.
Held it in his pocket and just say, you know
then
what?
I wouldn't have. Then I would just say they all agree.
He saw something.
But he saw something the others didn't, and I had to wonder this. If they're in Foxborough, do they pick up that flag?
Oh, I'll do you one better. If it's not the Patriots, is anybody riding for the Panthers? And I don't have a dog in this fight, but the bottom line is I think there are a lot of people out there who are saying, you know what, it's karma. Because it's still talking about the tuck rule. Still talking about all the breaks the Patriots have gotten over the years. So because it's Belichick and Brady, a lot of people are like, the Patriots are crying, cry me a river. What's right is right. And that was the wrong call.
Yeah, and not only that, people have to understand that if this situation happens to the Patriots, it could very easily happen to your team. I mean, this can happen to anybody. It has happened, right?
You saw the play on Olsen on McCourty.
Yes.
Oh, you know, uncatchable balls to me are when they sail out of bounds. I'm not going to sit up here and say with conviction that Rob Gronkowski could not have gotten it. Would he probably have caught it? Probably not. But that's not part of this judgment call. And
you have to wonder if whether or not it cost them the game, because then they're at the 1 yard line. And then this game really becomes a different story.
They need to own this in the next couple of days. Just like the Fail Mary, which I don't even know if they really apologize for that. They need to come out and admit they blew this call. They owe an apology.
Let's see if the numbers thinks the same. Did the officials get the call right at the end of the Patriots-Panthers game? The numbers say, this is a first, it doesn't matter.
Wait, huh?
It doesn't matter.
That's awfully lazy. What is the numbers just pick up your flag on argument or something? What is it? Doesn't matter.
The call didn't actually cost the Patriots the game like everyone thinks it did. Oh, really? It only cost them a shot to win the game.
Well,
okay. Even if the call had stood, the Patriots would still have had only a 50% chance to win the game. They would have had to score a touchdown from the one on an untimed down, a play that's been converted at a 50-50 rate historically.
You know what's funny, before we move on, this year, teams have scored about 50% of the time from the one on first, second, and third down, and the Patriots on 15 plays on first, second, and third down from the one have scored 3 times. Oh, excuse me, 5 times. Okay. 33%. Not a guarantee. Interesting. The number to do for the Panthers is 6. Last night, they won their 6th straight, one shy of the franchise record. Fun fact. According to Elias, Carolina is the 4th team in NFL history to beat flagship franchises San Francisco and New England in consecutive games during the regular season. They're in second place in the NFC South, a game behind the Saints, and 2 games worse than Seattle. But even before last night, my good friend, everybody's good friend, honestly, I can't claim him, Tony Dungy declared the Panthers the NFC's best team. He looks pretty doggone smart today. Are the Panthers the class of the NFC?
I think I'm ready to give that to him, which feels like an odd role reversal because they were your surprise team. Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm giving you credit. Why you got to look at me like that?
No, I'm just thinking about 2 weeks ago.
I know.
When you were like, oh, they only scored 10 on the 49ers. Yes, they ain't beat nobody.
But I said, I didn't say they didn't beat anybody.
Yeah, you did the games before that.
I said they only scored 10. Okay. And then I said they have more to prove, and I want to see it.
Okay.
Well, I've seen it, and this is, I know we'll talk about this later, but for Cam Newton, this was such a statement game for him. You look at this team. No, it was.
Don't trip falling on this bandwagon.
It was a big statement game. I'm just going with the facts that are before me. The fact is they're a good team, a good defense, and they got a good quarterback. Now, I know Seattle, a lot of people have sort of given them the title of best team in the NFC, but I hate to use the whole transitive, the transitive property theory or however it goes, like if that person beats that person, then this means that person beats that person. Well, opening game of the season, these 2 teams faced each other. 12-7 was the outcome. I like to think that the Panthers are a much better team now than they were then, and they caused a lot of problems for Seattle then. I mean, and even if you want to look at how Seattle struggled with the Rams, which the Panthers did not struggle with the Rams. Look at the beating they put on the Giants. I mean, this team has been playing well now for a good month, and I think they've earned...
you're deciding to listen to
I'm sorry. Forgive me for actually waiting until they beat some high-level competition.
No, that's okay. But as the person who gassed up this bandwagon in the off-season, in the preseason, and who has driven it during the season, you know what? I'm going to take this opportunity to pump the brakes just a little bit on this. Best team in the NFC.
Pump the brakes when I'm about to get on the bus.
They're not even, I'm in charge of this Panthers bandwagon, okay? As my surprise team this year, all you Johnny-come-latelys, have a seat. This will take off when I say so. And right now, it's way too soon to call them the best team in the NFC, with all due respect to you and Coach Dungy and others. They're a really good team, but they're not the best team in the division yet. I know it's only a game difference. They got 2 games in 3 weeks coming up in December with the Saints. That will prove whether they're in the class with the Saints and Seattle, who, by the way, Russell Wilson just had a 98.5 total QBR against the Vikings. Only Peyton Manning has more games of a 90 total QBR over the last 2 seasons than Russell Wilson, who just got back, wait for it, Percy Harvin. So that Seattle Seahawks team has got something to say about this. So do the Saints. I love the Panthers, but best in the NFC? Pump the brakes just a tad.
Well, at the very least, Carolina has earned the honor of, this is a team I don't think you really want to see in the playoffs.
Oh, no.
They're
good. Yeah. They're damn good. Yeah. But best in the NFC, got to give props to the teams actually still leading their divisions. For now, are the Panthers the best team in the conference? The numbers say no. The Panthers currently rank 3rd in the NFC in total team efficiency, behind the aforementioned Seahawks and Saints. Total team efficiency takes into account the effectiveness of a team's offense, defense, and special teams combined. Watch how many Panthers fans talking about I'm hating. Meanwhile, the number in the news for the Giants is 7.3. New York has allowed an opponent total QBR of 7.3 since week 7, the best mark in the NFL. Granted, they haven't faced the best the game has to offer during their 4-game winning streak. Freeman, Barkley, Pryor, Tolzien. Sounds like a prescription medicine. Sunday, they get a rematch with Tony Romo. Yesterday, Pierre Paul got his Daniel Day-Lewis on. There will be blood. We're going to put it on them, man. It's going to be a fight. It's going to be a dog fight. There's going to be a lot of blood spilled out there. That's his words, not mine. Giants talking a little too tough, or one Giant in particular?
Yes. So having said all those quarterbacks that they faced, and I forgot Josh Freeman even played this season. Okay, that's how bad that list is. They just got right, and now all of a sudden they want to look at people and say, "Oh, look, we're here, we're arrived. It's gonna be blood in the streets." A few weeks ago, you were the one bleeding, like you was stuck. Okay, and now all of a sudden you want to talk trash.
Courts will be convened.
Look, they were in the conversation for worst football team in the NFL.
They were. I think at one point I called them the Jacksonville of the NFC.
Thank you. Yeah. When you're in that conversation, you need to limit your conversation. They should be happy that they're in such a bad division that they're still a factor in the getting into playoffs, instead of saying like there will be blood spilled in the streets.
Sounded like Bane.
That is laughable.
Blood will be shed.
That's laughable.
Spoils will be enjoyed. No, but seriously, listen, only because they're playing the Cowboys can they talk this way.
Really?
And the Cowboys
so
just
you think this is a shot at Dallas, really?
They just got slaughtered, going with the blood theme. They just got slaughtered in New Orleans. If you're the Giants, particularly on defense, and you haven't allowed a passing touchdown in 4 games, okay? Eli Manning's, in the last 4 games, his completion percentage is 10 points higher than the first 6. Only thrown 2 interceptions compared to 15 the first time around. And this is a defense that's adding 14.3 expected points per game, best in the league over the last 4, and JPP's feeling good, catching interceptions, running them back for touchdowns. You should be feeling good about yourself. And you at the crib, I believe, against the Cowboys. Listen, if anybody can talk tough right now, it's them. I mean, I know I'm the master of discrediting people's schedules.
Yes.
But I'm just saying, the Giants right now should be feeling good about themselves, especially given how intermittently bad and good the Cowboys have looked this year.
Look, they should certainly feel some level of confidence because, again, when you see them getting wiped by Carolina 38-0, as bad as they looked the first 4, 5, 6 weeks of the season, I mean, this looked like a team that was definitely in the Jadeveon Clowney sweepstakes. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure they're happy that they've turned it around. However minimal the progress has been in terms of looking at their schedule, but it's like they want all this credit for coming back.
They want a cookie.
They want, like, yeah, you were supposed to play with effort. Eli Manning, you're supposed to not throw interceptions. Defense, you're supposed to make plays. And although the stats show them as being one of the best defenses over the last several weeks, I'm sorry, I'm giving them a half credit point because of who they face.
That said, who you got? Mm-hmm.
See, this is why I don't like the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying.
This is why I don't like them.
That's what I'm saying.
This is why I don't like them.
Look.
Because you can't trust them.
But you can talk trash to them because they kicking them while they down. Are the Giants talking too tough? The numbers say no. Pierre Paul was right to say it's going to be a dogfight, proverbially speaking, of course. Since JPP joined the league in 2010, the Giants' combined score against the Cowboys in 7 games is 206-20. And all but one of those games was within 1 quarter in the 4th quarter. No props for the Bane reference?
Yeah, no, I gave you props.
Police will learn to live. Go ahead.
You got some more? All right, the number of the news for Nick Foles is 10. Foles has 10 touchdown passes on throws of 15 yards or more downfield, which is second most in the NFL behind Drew Brees. He also hasn't thrown an interception. So, Chip Kelly, will you finally acknowledge that this man is your starting quarterback?
Is it just ridiculous to even ask about who the starting quarterback is going forward?
After the quarterback.
He's going to start for the bye week, so just so you guys want to know who the starting quarterback is, Nick will be the starter for the bye week.
Woo!
You thought that was funny?
He'll be here all week. I love
You thought
Chip
that was funny?
Kelly.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get up out my chair because you know what? I want Chip Kelly to come right here, have a seat in this chair because I'm tired of this, Mike. I'm tired of this.
You fed up?
I'm fed up. Look, dude, we see the production. We see how the team responds under Nick Foles. You are just toying with the media. This is your starting quarterback. Why don't you just say it? What's so hard about that?
I sense some pain coming from you right now.
I'm not.
Are you big on titles, commitment and such?
If they were on Facebook, Chip Kelly and Nick Foles, it's complicated. It would probably be that. No, actually, you'll probably be single.
It's really not complicated.
Not in a relationship.
I don't understand what your problem is. It's like you're allowing yourself to be toyed with. I bet you care more about this than Nick Foles does. Nick Foles knows he's going to go out there and play. Chip Kelly probably somewhere laughing at all of us for even questioning who's going to be the starting quarterback. But besides, Chip Kelly, maybe he's a Stevie Wonder fan and he's very superstitious because absolutely nothing needs to be changed at this point. He's got the highest highest rated quarterback in the league. Nick Foles has a 9.59 yards per attempt. If he's doing this while they just kicking it, while they just dating, why does he need to marry him? Why does he need to declare that he's a starter if it's working so well? What's he going to throw, 32 touchdowns and no picks? If he names him the starter, it doesn't matter. And is not Chip Kelly's mantra win the day? So why is he worried about something that has not presented itself as an issue? Michael Vick is still hurt.
But Mike, he hasn't just won a day. He's won weeks now, okay?
Which
it's not
means,
just one day.
Who's going to start next week? When they play, who's going to start?
It's going to be Nick Foles.
Who's going to probably start the week after that?
It should be Nick Foles.
So what's your problem?
My problem
you need to hear
is
the words?
why doesn't
Do you just need to hear the words?
Yes.
Is that what it is?
Just need to hear the words.
God,
and you know what the other part
pathetic.
of this is? Chip Kelly is not being slick. See, we all know, everybody was under the assumption the Eagles were going quarterback shopping after this season was over with. He can't commit to Nick Foles because I'm sure he wants to take a look at that draft and get his own guy.
Maybe, maybe not. What if Nick Foles all of a sudden becomes Nick Foles again? Then what? Then he wants, why marry? There's a reason why at the beginning of the season, in his farcical quarterback competition, let's not think I forgot that you clowned about this quarterback competition.
I did.
In the preseason.
I did.
In that emerged a capable backup and now starter. But he picked Michael Vick for a reason. What if he determines that maybe Nick Foles struggles and he says, you know what, I need to go back to Michael Vick. Right now, because Chip Kelly's pushing all the right buttons and has all the credibility in that locker room, he can probably get away with going back to Michael Vick if it came to it, and I wouldn't put it past him.
Well, the issue there, though, is that body of work this season, Nick Foles has very much outplayed Michael Vick.
Which is why this is a silly question for everybody to be asking him on a daily basis.
He's one of those dudes that's like, oh, you know, marriage, that's only something they put on paper. Heard that from guys before? That's just a piece of paper. Oh, I'm sorry, my bad.
See what I'm saying?
I
knew there was something personal about this.
Are you tired
whole
of Chip
commitment
Kelly
thing?
toying with the media? The numbers say no. It's understandable for Chip Kelly to be undecided on his quarterback situation. Nick Foles has built his reputation on his last 3 starts, all of which have come against teams ranked 20th or worse in pass defense this season.
What do you got to, like, introduce him?
I'm just saying.
Hey, how y'all doing? This is my quarterback.
All right, some great college basketball tonight at 8 on ESPN. Number 11, Memphis versus number 7, Oklahoma State in the Old Spice Classic.
All right, the number in the news for Cam Newton is 2. His 25-yard touchdown to Ted Ginn not only gave the Panthers the lead with 59 seconds left, not to mention it cost my fantasy team a win, but according to Elias, it also made Newton just the second player to throw a behind-to-ahead touchdown pass in the final minute of the 4th against Bill Belichick's Patriots. You may remember Eli Manning did so in November 2011 and in Super Bowl 42. Cam led Carolina in rushing last night and led a game-winning drive in the 4th quarter or overtime for the 2nd consecutive game. You said it before Cam went out and won it, Jemele. Do you feel like this was a career-defining game for him?
I do, because we've had all these talk about young quarterbacks in this league and what they're doing, Russell Wilson, Andrew Luck, and we forgot about Cam. You know, like forgot about Dre, forgot about Cam. Same thing, right?
Nowadays, everybody want to talk. They got something to say.
And
what's
so now,
when he moved to lives? Sorry.
Is he going to cost us money?
I know, right?
So now all of a sudden with a signature win over the Patriots, and let's be honest, it's always a big deal to beat New England. Because
even this Patriots
year,
squad?
because it's Tom Brady. And people inevitably want to have a quarterback conversation, and every quarterback in the league measures themselves against probably 2 quarterbacks, Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. Mm-hmm. So to beat Tom Brady, especially in this fashion late, with Bill Belichick coming off a bye week where he typically doesn't lose, Tom Brady owns Monday Night Football. This is one of those games you're going to look back at Cam Newton's career as the fork in the road, when he turned on the light fully and you said this is where he turned the corner and became that dynamic quarterback that we all expected him to be.
So I'm going to go way back. Quote, this is from Aristotle.
Okay.
We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Point is,
all day to come up with that?
No, I didn't come up with it. That's Aristotle, but
Okay.
it hit me as an appropriate line, as an appropriate thing to point out for this conversation. You know my favorite thing that Cam Newton did last night? It wasn't all the rollouts. It wasn't the scrambles. It wasn't the poise. It was when he rolled his eyes at the press conference. Because somebody asked him, they said, what's your confidence like this year compared to last year? He was like, I don't know. I'm just trying to be 7-3. I love that. That's the attitude. He stayed in the moment. Wasn't getting caught up, because this is what he's come to expect from himself. He wasn't getting caught up in this idea that this is he didn't get drafted number 1. He didn't come out of Auburn with all the hype he did in order to win a game in November. Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, the reason they're the standard, because they repeatedly do it. They're repeatedly excellent. This is a nice run for Cam Newton. I think the sky's the limit for him. The light seems to have come on. He's come of age. You know how I feel about Cam Newton.
I do.
But even I'm going to sit here and say, this is not what's going to define him in the long run.
Well, it defines it because it's, again, a fort. It's a place where you can see a serious.
But isn't that a hindsight observation? I mean, that's a bold.
But it just feels that way because of the way he's playing the game now. And it is about a consistent pattern. First, it's a stair-step process. First, you do it over the teams you should do it against. Then you start doing it against the teams that are in a different class that you're trying to get in that class.
What if he doesn't do it against the Saints coming up? Like, I mean, they got a week ago, we talking about a 10-9 win, and I'm saying give him credit. What you saying? He scored 10 points.
Well, he did.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Fact. Did he not score 10 points?
Listen,
Fact.
I'm the head cheerleader for this dude, and I'm saying this is not the time, not yet. Was this a career-defining game for Cam Newton? Okay. The numbers say yes. I'm not upset that I'm wrong in this case.
No.
Cam was responsible for 90.3% of Carolina's offensive yardage Monday night, his highest career rate ever in a win. If you are what you repeatedly do, I'm repeatedly wrong. So what does that mean?
Mike, you are not the first person to recognize this. All right, the number of the news for Tom Brady is 185. Brady's 185th NFL start last night established a new NFL record for most starts by a quarterback under one head coach. Just going to guess that in his 184 previous starts, Brady never went at an official quite like this. Most common tweet I received last night. What if Dez Bryant did that? What if Cam Newton did that? Then I would say the same thing. So what? I don't have a problem with Tom Brady going up to the officials, although not using his church voice, and asking for an explanation. Do you?
I don't. And I'm so proud of you for coming to my side of people being out of control.
I ain't always on your side.
You know, I always, and people get indignant, you know, I love it.
Yes, I know.
No, I mean, but in this case, I'm sorry. It is a double standard. And there are certain double standards that have to be accepted and understood as opposed to, you know, rejecting them. Tom Brady, at this point in his career, given his stature in the league, I'm not going to say he's earned the right to act any kind of way, but you know he felt some kind of way after that. And for him to go after the official and say, hey, I got a problem with this, it's not like, you know, the locker room was on the other side. They were going the same way.
Oh, come on. You know, he got a little pep in his step.
Yeah, they were going in the same general direction. So while I'm going, I might as well just ask him. But, yeah, I do give him a pass because of what he's accomplished and because of how he's conducting himself for the most part. And I'm not afraid of being hypocritical here because I'm the same person sat up here and defended Dez Bryant until I was blue in the face. So I got no issues giving Tom Brady a pass because I feel like in the heat of the moment, in that passion, he deserved an explanation as to why an obvious pass interference call was picked up.
Well, but here's the thing, too. People have to take into context. Like, they want to throw out what if it was this person or that person without adding any context to the situation whatsoever. This was the end of a game in which they had an opportunity to win, in which everyone, as Tom Brady had the best view in the house, okay, could see that play was incorrect. Or
at least questionable.
And the fact that a flag was thrown, which Tom Brady immediately knows that somebody on this referee crew agrees with me that there should have been a call, and considering the explanation to the crowd was substandard.
If it wasn't even an explanation.
It wasn't really
there was no call to play. Good night.
Bye.
Drive home safely.
Right, nothing to see here. Yeah. You know, tip your waiters on the way out. He deserved an explanation, and he sought that explanation.
And he sought it in a peaceful manner, to tell you the truth. I mean, I didn't feel like
he wasn't trying to fight him, but
he didn't make contact with him. You know, I mean, it's not like he went up and
we've seen unclean words, rather.
Maybe in the field of play, he's not the first player to get in the face of the official.
No, he's not.
And I mean,
and it happens commonly. Yes.
Blow a call.
I'm gonna blow my stack.
There'll be consequences and repercussions.
Do you have a problem with Tom Brady going after the officials? The numbers say yes.
Really?
Yep. Brady has consistently gotten the benefit of the doubt when it comes to drawing penalties this year. In fact, among quarterbacks, only Joe Flacco has gotten more expected points added via penalties than Brady this season.
I ain't gonna front. He'll cry for a roughing the passer play.
Yeah, he will. He will.
Here's the game's final play. Brady steps up, throws end zone, intercepted! Flag in the end zone. Hang on.
There's no foul on the play. Game is over.
Carolina Panthers have beaten the New England Patriots. Brady wants an explanation.
How's he supposed to catch it when the guy's got his arms all over him, carrying him out of the end zone?
Because Gronk is kept from competing from the ball. That's interference.
That was the wrong
call. It wasn't even a hard call, if you ask me.
That is the most ridiculous thing to pick up that call that I've ever seen in a football game in my life.
It is the play everybody's talking about around the country, especially here at ESPN. And to give us some help, we bring in Brian Dawkins, who never committed pass interference in his day.
Never.
Might have been flagged for it.
Even when they called it, I didn't do it.
Exactly. So you've heard all the explanations about, uncatchable and this, that, and the other. Are you buying the referee's explanation from last night?
I am. When I first saw it in live action, I thought it was a foul. But as I look back at it, and when I saw the interception, where the interception happened at towards the front of the end zone, I said then that there was you could pick that flag up, because when you have a play like that, when you have Gronk going down the middle of the field, as we see right here, when he's catching this football, the defender that is towards the front of the end zone. Had Gronk fought back towards the football to show that I can actually get to it, then to me the call would have stood. Pass interference or whatever the call that they put on the football field at that time, and the ball would have gone back to the Patriots. But in my opinion, because he did not fight back to the football, because the defensive back caught the ball so far towards the front of the end zone, that showed that Gronk could not have caught this football.
But, Doc, this isn't a challenge situation. You've seen that in replay. In real time, there's a reason why the back judge threw that flag, because Luke Kuechly was at minimum holding him, if not impeding his progress. Right. Yeah, looking back, we can all be geometrists and say, you know what, there's no way he could have reached back at that angle and at that distance. Fine, in replay. But in real time, you're seeing a guy being held down the middle of the field and a guy not playing the football.
Exactly. So if that's your point, then the back judge stand with your call. If he stood with his call,
right,
it didn't allow the other two guys to talk him out of it, then I wouldn't have had a problem with it that way either. But since that happened and I had a chance to go back and look at it, I said, you know what? That's a good call.
And maybe the other guys saw that in real time, which we're seeing only on replay. All right, so we got one expert in Brian Dawkins. Once again, 0 pass interference penalties in his future Hall of Fame career. A guy who called a few pass interference in his day. Jerry Austin, who spent 26 years as an NFL official, now serves as a rules consultant for Monday Night Football. That was the guy that John Gruden bear hugged. He's also supervisor of officials for Conference USA. Jerry, you've heard us talking about it. Jemele and I are not buying it. Brian Dawkins is buying the explanation. You bought it in the Monday Night Football booth last night. You've had about 12 hours or so to think about it some more. Are you still supporting the picking up of the flag last night?
Well, I'm supporting that it's not pass interference, because I don't. And let's say the ball was tipped. You get a pass that's tipped. Pass interference goes away as soon as the ball is tipped. Well, when the interception occurred in front of where the intended receiver was, any pass interference action goes away. And it appears to me that the back judge, all he is doing is calling pass interference. The other two officials are telling him it's not pass interference because the ball's intercepted in front of where this action occurred. So pass interference is not. Second point that Brian made, is Gronkowski trying to get back to the ball? Because if he's trying to get back to the ball and that defender prevents him from being able to get back to the ball, now you got defensive holding. But Gronkowski's feet never head back toward the ball. And so pass interference, no. Holding, if he throws it and says it's holding, you got to support that. But if he doesn't throw it, I think you support that also. I think that is the questionable part of it, not pass interference, because the ball was caught, which is the same as a ball being tipped.
Now, let me make sure that I understand this correctly. Are you saying then that if that official calls defensive holding, then that should have been the call instead of pass interference? Is that what you're saying?
That's the only thing it could have been. Would have been defensive holding. It cannot be pass interference because of the interception 5-6 yards in front of where the contact occurred with the intended receiver. So that's the same as a tip ball. Pass interference goes away. Now, did defensive holding occur? I didn't see any action that showed that Gronkowski was restricted from going back to make a play on the ball. His momentum was carrying him toward the end line. He was headed toward the end line, not trying to get back. I believe in my heart if he's trying to get back, that the defender's not going to let him get back toward the ball, but that did not occur.
But with all due respect, Jerry, it looks like he's being face guarded and that his momentum is partly being carried by another player. I've seen many pass interference calls made just based off the fact that the defender wasn't even playing the ball. So why doesn't that apply here?
Well, face guarding is not a foul in college or professional football. When you see that call being made, and most defenders now play with their back to the ball and the face to the receiver, reading the receiver's eyes. And smart quarterbacks underthrow the ball so that the receiver can come back toward the ball. Then the contact occurs, and when the contact occurs, now you have defensive pass interference because the defender's not making a play on the ball.
But, Jerry, you're saying that once the pass is intercepted, pass interference goes away. That's presuming that the contact didn't occur until the ball was intercepted, which is awfully subjective. In replay, it seems that way, but there are still shots, and even during the play, it feels like the contact was already taking place, or whatever, whether they call it pass interference, holding, whatever, was taking place while the ball was still in the air. And secondly, does Gronkowski truly have to make more of an effort? Are you saying he needed to sell the call in order to get it? Does that excuse Luke Kuechly's actions?
That doesn't excuse Kuechly's action, but the point I'm trying to make, you want us to call a foul that's in your favor, you need to earn it. Show me the restriction.
Say it with your chest.
Wow.
Brian understands that.
Exactly.
He understands that.
Exactly. And that was one of my points, is that a lot of times receivers do a great job of acting, all right? In this situation, in my opinion, if Gronk had planted that foot and fought hard back and towards him and showing that I'm actually trying to get back to this football and that I can make a play on it, then you have to then throw a flag in this holding, and then whatever, I don't know what the yardage situation is, whether it be on the 10-yard line or the half foot, I don't know how that works right now, but it's then a foul. But because he did not, he allowed his momentum to take him completely out of the play. To me, you have to pick it up. All right.
Unfortunately, we got to drop it here. Jerry, thank you so much for joining us. We could talk to you all day about this. Goes to show what a hard job you did for 26 years. That is the ultimate judgment call, because just looking at your former colleague, Mike Pereira, Jim Diapolis, they both said it should have been a flag for pass interference, that it was catchable. So I guess it just depends on who you ask. We're glad we were able to ask you for your insight today. Thank you so much. Hey, be sure to check out Mexico taking on New Zealand. Mexico looking to clinch a World Cup berth. It's 6 straight. You can find it at 1 a.m. on Wednesday on ESPN or 10 p.m. Pacific time Tuesday. Check your local listings. How about that?
I probably listen to more talk radio than anyone.
Do you really?
I think I love the pain. Certainly criticism hurts, but it fuels your ambition. It makes me think I want to show them.
All right, Jerry, well, here's a painful number for you, 17. The Cowboys have gone 17 straight seasons without making a Super Bowl. Maybe that's because Jerry is more worried about what's being said in the media than constructing another Super Bowl team, as he told the CBS Morning Show. Mike, you have to be surprised that Jerry Jones is listening to his media critics?
I don't know why, but I am. I am surprised and frankly disappointed for Jerry Jones and on behalf of Cowboys fans everywhere. This is the owner and general manager. Let me stress that again. Owner and general manager. I don't know many general managers, and I've come across quite a few in my day, who A, are sitting around listening to talk radio all day, or B, would openly acknowledge it. We got to introduce Jerry to this little thing called an inner monologue. Like, that's something you keep to yourself. Because, I mean, what's the old adage? If you start listening to the fans, sooner or later you'll be sitting with him. We know that's not the case because he owns the team. But your decision-making has got to be clouded at some point if you're thinking about either A, people's suggestions, or B, trying to prove that your ideas were right and not wrong, as people are saying. Good thing he ain't got a Twitter. My goodness. Imagine if he was on Twitter. Whew.
Well, this, to me, exposes the central problem with the Cowboys, and unfortunately, it's the unfixable problem because Jerry Jones can't fire himself. The Cowboys, Jerry Jones in particular, are too worried about being and living up to the media hype of being America's team and not worried enough about doing the things, as I said, it takes to build a championship.
Don't you think he's too old for this at this point?
No.
He'd have grown out of this by now.
He built that huge tower and ode to himself in Jerry's world, and now he's somebody who has his own radio show, always wants to be out front in the media, and I just think he's just too concerned with the limelight. He's not concerned enough with the foundation. That's why he can tell you stuff like, oh, we didn't cover the spread, or this is a moral victory, because he's listening to the outside noise.
But I think he wants to win. I think he wants to win. I think he wants to do it his way.
But that's the problem, because a lot of people don't understand that their way is not the best way. I've said it for years. Worst thing that ever happened.
Way too long. If I had that much money, you couldn't tell me nothing.
But the worst thing that ever happened to him is winning with Barry Switzer, because he thought he could do it with anyone. Are you surprised to hear Jerry Jones listens to media critics? The numbers say yes, because if he actually listened to some of his critics, maybe the Cowboys would be a bit better off.
Oh, wow. Is that necessary?
Yeah, that is necessary. Instead, his team now has just a 41% chance to make the playoffs, according to Number Fire, after opening the year as the Vegas favorite to win the division.
Speaking of which, Jerry, if you're watching right now, which I hope you are,
sure he is.
I picked y'all to win the Super Bowl. Quit saying stuff to make me regret it.
And better yet, come on our show.
The number in the news for Greg Schiano is $9 million. That's how much money the Bucs owe their head coach on the 5-year contract he signed in 2012. Wasn't that long ago where many, myself included, believed it would be in the Bucs' best interest to eat that contract and fire Schiano. Now, after back-to-back wins over the Dolphins and Falcons, it might be time for me to eat my words yet again. Don't take my word for it. Here are the words of veteran guard Davin Joseph, who said, quote, "There was a time there a few weeks ago when it could not have gotten any worse at One Buck Place." That's the name of the facility. All of a sudden, it's like a light's been turned on. But that's what he said. He said, we all just need to keep pushing hard, keep working hard, and now we see it. Today is a good day to be a Buccaneer, but next week we have another stiff challenge that's at Detroit, and we know Schiano's going to push us this week. Wow, all right, what a turnaround. Has Schiano gone from looking like he might be losing his locker room to saving his job all of a sudden?
Yeah, I think he has. I wasn't convinced, even when they were losing, that he was going to get fired, because I think that there was a commitment there clearly. If they allowed him to get rid of Josh Freeman, that to me spoke volumes about the commitment that they had to Greg Schiano. We've seen this 1,000 times before, Mike, as sports journalists who've covered, you more so than me, many NFL locker rooms. The winning covers everything. Doesn't matter how it happened. Doesn't matter why it happened. Doesn't matter.
What do they call it?
Winning covers the stink.
It's the best deodorant?
Yeah, it's the best deodorant. Yeah, I mean, and this is the psychology into players. They will play alongside and for anyone as long as those results continue.
Exactly. And that's not a given their remaining schedule. At Detroit, at Carolina, versus Buffalo, at home against San Francisco, at St. Louis, at New Orleans. The bottom will still fall out of this thing. 2-14 is not out of the question. Now, granted, they should have a 3-game winning streak. They gave one away at Seattle. Yes, they're playing hard. But let's go back to that deodorant analogy for a second. You could put deodorant on and still be funky. Deodorant don't cover up.
You sound like you have experience with this.
I mean, I'm just saying. Just because you got on deodorant doesn't mean you don't need a shower.
That's true.
Is it one of the situations? Is this a situation where they're tolerating him or truly buying in? It's easier to tolerate him when you're winning games against Miami and Atlanta. NFL teams, but Miami and Atlanta, both teams with their own problems. I'm not going to sit here and say, even though I look foolish for questioning his cutting Josh Freeman, Mike Glennon, 3 incompletions, not that bad. He's listening to Gerald McCoy, who had 3 sacks about schemes. Maybe he's learning how to manage the NFL locker rooms, but I got to see more wins than 2 before I'm convinced that the Glazers won't make a move if it comes down to it.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point, but it's not as bad, I guess, as we all thought it was.
No.
So are you saying it was a stinky and funky pile, and they in the
dirty we can wear again?
They in the dirty pile.
Funky's in a class by itself. That's Sinbad for y'all that don't know. That's that college laundry. Has Greg Schiano saved his job? The numbers say no, he has not. 2 wins does not guarantee Schiano will keep his job. In the previous 10 seasons, 86% of teams that finished 2-14, which again is a possibility, or worse, fired their coaches. 86%.
So you still may be right.
I'm doing well. I mean, it's been a long process. You know, you go from playing and being active every single day to just sitting down and eating donuts all day long for about 6 months, and then you got to kind of get active again.
Was it very painful?
No, it wasn't too painful. You know, when it first happened, it was painful, but then after that, it felt okay.
What about playing again?
I'll be ready to play soon.
When?
I'm not sure exactly when, but the date is coming up pretty quickly. I feel great. I'm running just fine. I'm practicing just fine.
You see how he was dressed in all black?
The Mamba.
That was the Black Mamba, Kobe
messages.
Bryant. He was on The View. The full interview will air on Thursday. But you don't have to wait to find out how Kobe will perform when he returns, because we put together this whiteboard with some help from our buddy Stephen A. Smith. Check it out.
Hey, it's Jamel and Mike from Numbers Never Lie, hanging out with our boy Stephen A. I know y'all saw ESPN.com rank Kobe as the 25th best player for the 2013-14 season.
So disrespectful.
Kobe outscored LeBron last year. He finished in the top 5 in scoring 11 years running.
And these experts have the audacity to rank Kobe behind Joakim Noah? Blasphemous.
Guys, is this really all that ridiculous? I mean, what if Kobe really is finished as an elite player?
Excuse me?
History tells us that when shooting guards turn 35, they start to fall off the cliff. Kobe turned 35 in August. And if you take a look at the highest scoring players aged 35 and older, you've got Kareem, the Mailman, and the Chief, Robert Parrish. Only 11 of the top 30 scorers after age 35 are guards. So let's just say it pays to be tall when you get old in the NBA.
Yeah, but Kobe isn't just any guard.
True. The best comparison is probably Jordan. But keep in mind, he sat out 3 seasons after turning 35. Even still, MJ ranks 3rd among shooting guards in points after turning 35, behind only Reggie Miller and Dale Ellis.
No, you did not compare Kobe Bryant to Dale Ellis.
Nope, I'm simply illustrating the uphill battle Kobe faces. We haven't even gotten to the Achilles. Dominique Wilkins is the only player to make an All-Star game after suffering a torn Achilles. He was 32 when it happened. At 35, the human highlight was in Greece.
Please, Kobe ain't going out like that.
How dare those numbers be so disrespectful?
All I can tell you is numbers never lie.
All right, time for some numbers you need to know. And the number for Ray Lewis is 50%. And here's why.
If they find this kid, if they go on record and they find this kid, Amar Brooks, I'm going to do something personally. I'm going to pay half, whatever his fine is. Listen to me.
If they find him,
if they find this kid,
fine, Ray.
If they find this kid, Trent, I'm going to pay half of this kid's fine.
Half.
Give me half, Eddie. Look, I ain't got half because you know I'm on the allowance, but I got my debit card right here. I can put something on it.
What, like
if they fine him for this, well, they should fine him for it because he went high.
No, they should not.
He hit him in the neck area. If I had an EBT card, I'd give you that too. But I'm telling you right now, I will put something on it, Amar Brooks. Right here, I'm going to ask my wife if it's okay. Make sure no check bounce.
You don't even know where your money at.
I don't even know how to access my money. Don't worry about it. You can see the number. It don't matter. Ain't nothing in it. Download our podcast. Numbers Never Lie. His and hers. We'll see you. You know I ain't got no money.